Mine's not shiny like yours. Sad.
Come back! You're supposed to be teaching it. Oh, he's gonna drown himself. I'll go watch. As you're just looking up out of the water.
Okay. So today's project is going to be the digital miner. We're going to show kind of how to make it, the ingredients you need, and how to make most of those ingredients, and then how to use the user interface, which is in and of itself somewhat complicated. So the first thing you'll need is some basic control circuits. You should know this from the last video, but you put osmium ingots into a metallurgical infuser with power, and it makes a basic control circuit. You might want to, if you're going to be using this mod, you might want to make a lot of those. This is the next one. For this, you need atomic alloy. This is very expensive. This is a very expensive machine. So the first step is take an iron ingot, put it in a metallurgic infuser. It infuses into regular alloy. From there, it only gets more complicated. You got to use diamonds and obsidian and all kinds of stuff. It gets very expensive very fast. But this is one of the machines that I would say is absolutely worth it. If you can get this as fast as possible. Excuse me for a second. Can I help you? No, I don't want your boots.
So there's the infused alloy.
You must die too.
There's the reinforced alloy. Diamond dust, enriched diamond. With an infused alloy to make the reinforced alloy, and then enriched or refined obsidian with the reinforced alloy to make atomic alloy.
Yes.
Got it.
Very expensive. You will need, I want to say, 5 or 6 of those, something like that. You're going to need a few of them. The next thing we're going to look at is logical sorter. For this, it's pretty simple, basic control circuit. Remember, I said you'll need a lot of those if you're doing this mod. Iron ingots all around it and a piston on top. That's pretty simple. You will need 2 of those. This is the steel casing. Sorry, the steel casing. For this, you need black stained glass, osmium ingot, and steel ingot. Again, very simple. You only need 1 of those. The most expensive part of this will be your atomic alloy. So this is your teleportation cores. You will need 2 of these. Hold on. Sorry. Made a mistake in counting there. But so this is how you make an atomic alloy. And you will need 2 of these. Again, very expensive. So there's 2 of your, or not atomic alloys. This is your teleportation cores. You will need 2 of these. If you notice, I use atomic alloys, 2 of them, so you'll need expensive. They are expensive, plus the diamond. The lapis and the gold are fairly easy to find. You'll need 2 of those again. This is the robot. This one is one of the more expensive ones. So you'll need refined obsidian ingots, and how you get those is you take, you have to get a crusher. That's the easiest, unless you want to use diamonds as fuel. But the easiest way to do it is to get a crusher.
Oh, I see. Crusher. There it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So you take a crusher, and you crush. No, never mind.
No, you need diamond as the power source.
Yeah, you need a metallurgic infuser. You make the diamond as a power source. And you put obsidian dust in there. It makes refined obsidian dust. How you get obsidian dust is you put obsidian to a powered enrichment chamber. So you see you're going to need a few machines for this, at least for this part. But yeah, so you put obsidian into a powered enrichment chamber. It gives you 4 obsidian dust. You take those, put them into a metallurgic infuser with diamond as your power source. Very expensive. Now it makes refined obsidian dust. That also needs to be powered. You take that dust, put it into an osmium compressor with osmium ingots or blocks or whatever, and that makes it into a refined obsidian ingots. Again, it has to be powered. So that's how you get those. The energy tablet, it has to be charged, so you need to have a power source, and which you should have already because everything else needs power. But that uses 3 infused alloys, 4 redstone, and 3 gold ingots. So not really that expensive. I mean, like really not expensive at all. But you need to have a charging pad. You put it on the charging pad, and it'll charge it. So you need 2 of those. Actually, I'm not sure.
There we go.
Yeah, actually, they don't need to be charged. Even the robot doesn't need to be charged. It just needs to be in there. So you just need to make them and put them in. There's another atomic alloy, which again, expensive. For the personal chest, that one is 2 trap chests, or sorry, 1 trap chest, 1 regular chest. Sorry, it's switching on me.
It
can be trap chest or regular chest. A base control circuit, stained glass, and steel ingots. So not very expensive at all.
Any kind of glass. Cycling.
Oh, okay. It's just showing stained for me. Like a different colored stains, but it's showing stained. Yeah. So that's how you make that, the robot, which you put into the center of the digital miner. This is how you make the digital miner. You put that in the center of the digital miner. It does not need to be charged. But logical sorters on each side, teleportation cores in the bottom corners, the steel casing in the middle bottom, basic control circuit top, middle, and atomic alloys on each side of the basic control circuit. So in the end, it's 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 atomic alloys. That's what you need. Not counting the other machine and all that stuff that you got to make. And in the end, you get something like this.
Boop, 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 boop.
So this is the digital miner. There is a few things you need to do before you mess with this. So you can see on the sides, both sides have power, which is a green square. They both have power inputs. There is a yellow input, a yellow output on top and on the back. They have to go into a chest or into I haven't tried the top yet, but the back I know can go directly into the pipes, go into the logistical transport of pipes. You put those on there, and you can pipe them into your auto sorting system, like we talked about last time. That's what we did. That's how we got the wall we have and how we have. This also needs power, so you need to put a power source in on each side or on one side. This thing draws a massive power, so make sure your power source is legitimate. Like it's a good source. For this video, we're going to use a an energy cube to power it. That way we don't have to worry about connecting anything or whatever. So I don't know if you can use that while I use it.
Oh.
Can you get into that?
Yeah.
Okay. So this screen is it looks very complicated, but it's really not. So you got your start and your stop. You got your configure, which we'll go into in a minute. That's how you configure what it needs to sort or what it needs to store. You got your spot on the top if you want to put an energy cube in. The check mark just says all is well. There's no issue. And then your power meter on the side. The R is reset. That's how once you configure everything and start the machine, when you go to stop it, if you want to change the configuration, you hit reset. It doesn't delete your configuration, but it just allows you to go back in and change stuff before starting again. Auto eject is it basically, you can see this has its own inventory, so it could just pull everything and put it in here. It's a very small inventory. I wouldn't recommend it. So if you wanted to pipe out, then you could do auto eject. We're going to go ahead and turn that on.
It did change it for me. Okay.
Auto pull. We'll get into that in a second. You can also use silk touch if your item requires silk touch. You can do that with this machine. What the auto pull does is it's a pretty cool feature with this machine. Let's say, for example, you want to collect dirt for some reason. Obviously, this machine is sitting on dirt. You don't want to destroy the ground. So what you can do is you can put a box on top, fill it with items, and then that you want it to replace with. And then when you go into configuration, you can tell it when you pull this item, replace it with something. It's going to pull out of that box whatever the item is that you have in there, and it's going to replace that block with whatever you have. So you could say, collect dirt and replace it with stone. So you fill the box with stone, you tell it to replace the item, and you put auto pull. That's going to pull out of that box and that's what goes on top. It pulls out of that box to replace the items. I don't really use that very much. It's not really a feature I need. I always have silk touch on just because. Okay. This does take upgrades. If you look at the arrow on the top, it takes speed, energy, and anchor. What anchor does is it keeps speed and energy are pretty obvious. It makes it go faster and it makes it more efficient on power. What anchor does is it keeps it chunk loaded, which basically means that you can be offline and it will still. I've had issues with this, but overall, it's supposed to keep it chunk loaded. So it can take 8 speed, 8 energy, and 1 chunk or 1 anchor. So I'm going to go ahead and upgrade this machine right now just because I don't want it to go slow. If you don't upgrade it, it is very, very slow. What you do is you just like all the machines in this mod, you set the upgrades into that little square on top, and it loads them in. Doesn't need power to do that; it just loads them all in. And it goes pretty quick. All right, so now if you click on it, we have our speed upgrade. It's going to run at 256% or 256 times normal speed. It's going to run at efficiency of 10 times, and it's going to stay chunk loaded. Now we have it all upgraded. If you look at the little lightning bolt, you can see it needs what it needs, what its free buffer is, and its energy capacity, what it has in it, and all that. You can also change that to different versions. I like to keep it on joules, but you can have it on whatever you want. The redstone in the corner right now, it says disabled, but what you can do is you can set it to respond to redstone if you want. So you can respond to a high signal or a low signal. What that's good for is you could set it on a switch, and then you can flip it on and off when you feel like it. or it can respond to different redstone things. You can set your privacy with the lock. You can set to public, private, or trusted. It shows that I'm the owner because I'm the one that put it down, but it's going to be whoever puts it down. The little square in the corner, that's visuals, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. On the main screen, you can see that it's idling right now. It's not turned on. It's not ready because we haven't configured anything or done anything to it. The auto eject is turned on, the auto pull is turned off, and the so touch is turned on. Once we configure it to pull, it's going to read the area that we tell it to, and it's going to say how many blocks it's going to mine. And then that'll come up right there. So the next bit, if you want to hit configuration, this is the configuration menu that shows up on most of the machines on this mod. Radius can go anywhere from to 0 to 32. The higher the radius, the more places and the more area it has to search, the more power. Let's keep that in mind. It can go from minimum 0, which is bedrock, the lowest layer of bedrock, all the way up to as high as you want. I'm going to leave it on 60 because that's default, and it also is just below this ground. We're sitting at 64, so it's not going to mess with anything on the ground.
So basically, radius is 32 by 32 horizontal, and then min and max is your vertical.
Yes. And we'll look at that in just a second. Once we hit that little square thing, that's going to show us what we're searching for. And actually, for that demo, just for now, I'm going to set this to 80. That way, we'll be able to see that in a minute. Then once we see that, actually, we see that right now. So I go ahead and go over here and click visuals on. It might lag you out or not. It might lag you a little bit but if you go out of the machine and look around, you can see a grid.
I do?
This is the...
Hold on. I think I have to turn it on for myself. Ooh. Okay, there we go. I see it.
Yeah. So this is everywhere it's going to search. Anywhere inside this square, and this square goes all the way down to bedrock, it's going to search. And it's going to search for what we tell it to search for, and then pull it. Or ignore it, depending on what we do in a minute. You're probably lagging pretty bad right now, right?
Yep, turning that off.
Yep.
Oh,
remember I was telling you I was lagging earlier?
Yeah.
That's why. So that shows you kind of how or where you can search or where you're going to search. So if we go back into configuration, I'm going to go ahead and set that back to 60, and that's going to put it onto the ground. Next thing we need to do is set up our filters. So if you give me 1 second, I'm going to go, come on. Let's do that. And
oh, it's kind of like what we did with the logistical sorter before.
Basically, yeah. It's this, like I said, this is the same menu that's going to show up on everything. There's a few slight differences. So if you go to new filter, you can go to item stack. You can also do tags, materials, and mod IDs. So if I normally use item stacks, and so if you click on that, you put the item in the top right or top left corner. And then the exclamation point, that's where you're going to tell it if you replace it with something.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you click on that, if you require replace, you click yes. It's going to pull out of the bin that's attached to it if you have auto pull on, and it's going to replace that item. The item that's in the top right box is what it's going to replace it with. So if you have, like for right now, I'm setting it up with to pull gold ore, and it's going to replace it with iron ore and replacing yes. So I just add that filter. That filter, you can look at what I'm talking about. So it says the status is everything is okay. It says that it's going to look for gold ore. and then it's going to replace it with iron ore. Obviously, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to just take that out of there. Well, actually, I got to delete the filter and then put it again. Okay. So I have item filters for gold ore, iron ore, and stone. Be careful with the bigger items like stone. There's obviously a lot of stone underground, and it's going to grab every last bit of it. So if you put in there stone, you're liable to end up with over 100,000 pieces, like we did. You'll never have to worry about stone again, but saying. The other things you can do are tags. So you can do like ores, and it's gonna search for ores. I don't do that. You can also do materials. So you can do using material of stone, or whatever you want. Mod IDs you can put in there, or hold on. Where is it? There it is. So you can put in there, for example, mechanism. Now it's going to search for anything mechanism has put into it, anything the mod has put into it, and it's going to remove that. So yeah, like I said, I don't really do that, but I do it more simply. I just do item stacks, and then I tell it, hey, pull this item. So there's one more thing on this screen that might be different for other things. That's at the bottom left. That's the inverse mode. Inverse mode basically means it tells the machine, hey, instead of collecting this, I want you to ignore it and collect everything else. So what you could do with this is, if you want to turn that on, you could say, if you want to collect like all the ores underground, you could say ignore stone, ignore grass, ignore wood, or not wood. Well, if you're above ground, you can ignore wood. Ignore dirt, ignore cobblestone. So you put those item filters in here, and then click on that, and it's going to ignore those items. Yes. Well, we'll see in a second. Those torches don't matter. But yes, you could say you could put a torch in there. It doesn't all have to be blocks like ores and stuff. It can be anything. So, for example, when I first had this thing set up, I had the line above ground, and I had it hooked to hoppers and boxes to autofill. And what I did is I told it, okay, ignore hoppers, ignore box or chests, ignore piping or anything that I had in there for that mechanism. I said ignore. That way it wouldn't try to collect it all, and because it'll collect anything. So you can go in here and say, for some odd reason, okay, so there's some stuff it won't go. It won't grab leather. It won't grab leads.
Because it's not going to kill anything, I would imagine.
Yeah. So it has to be something that it can collect. But you could say hoppers. Okay, so you put it now. How it's set up, because inverse mode is off, it's going to look for hoppers and it's going to collect them if there's any hoppers underground. And then there's not going to be, but hey, whatever.
Not my secret stash.
I'm going to go ahead and delete that. So now what we can do, hold on, so I'm going to go back here and I'm going to put, I'm going to use a bin. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to use a chest. So I'm going to set up a double chest on the back of this back of this machine. That's going to fill that chest because I have auto eject on. It's going to fill that chest with whatever I want it to fill with. Oops. Damn, wrong button. Just for the fun of it, I'm going to go ahead and put a chest up there. That's going to be your auto pull chest, but just for the fun of it, I'm just going to put it up there because it looks funny. So now we have it configured. We have the area we want it to search. We have a power source, and we have all of our settings correct. We're just going to click start. It's going to now pull 28,590 pieces. I'm going to go ahead and click reset, configure, and I'm going to remove this stone because it does not need to do that. More realistically, so now it's searching for iron. It's going to pull 260. As long as it has power, it's going to keep pulling.
Hello there.
And it greets you 3 times. So it says it's running, it's ready, everything's sorting. It pulls into the internal storage first, and then it auto ejects it into the back bin. As you can see by how long that took and how much we have, it's a very efficient machine when you have the upgrades. Now, just for the fun of it, I'm going to go ahead and delete my upgrades. I'm going to keep the energy and archer just because they don't matter. You need the upgrades.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. You need the upgrades. Focus on speed for this one. That's a key one for this. Energy, while nice, isn't really I mean it's good, but it's not really required. You can, and for the anchor, you could always AFK and you'll be fine.
For the speed upgrade, you need osmium dust, infused alloy, and glass.
Yep. So that's how you build and configure the auto. And so if you want to go into spectator mode, I will give you an example of what this machine can do. Now go straight down. So this is a 32 square radius up to 60 and down to 0. This entire cavern is cleared. Every bit of stone, every bit of material is cleared out of this cavern. I did have to block off the lava in the walls. And obviously it cannot collect bedrock. But every other thing is cleared. So this is a very good example of what this machine is capable of if you want to build it. This is why I said this is an expensive machine, but it's very much worth it. Because if you can get enough power to it to run it, then it can mine everything you'll ever need, basically.
I just like the fact that I can see some of my stairwells I made.
You see a what?
Some of my stairwells when I was mining by hand.
Oh, yeah. You see all the torches in there, and
yeah. I've been everywhere, and then this thing went and just made me look bad.
Yeah, it took away all your tunnels and all your torches.
That's okay.
But yeah, so it is a very worth invest in it, which I'll consider investing. It is quite worth it.
Only problem is now we need another 32 by 32 area.
Well, I mean, 32 is, if you can power it like that, it's all the materials you'll need. It really is.
Never enough diamonds.
I mean, you can always set it up for in a different place. But this is how we fill this entire room with items. And right now for diamonds, diamond ore, we have 150. So that's 152 diamonds that we can use.
It's still not enough.
Actually, sorry. We have 152 and then we have 99 actual.
Oh, the other one is diamond ore?
Yeah, the other one's diamond ore.
Yeah.
It hasn't been processed yet. I understand that's not a whole hell of a lot, but that's pretty good for minimal work I had. You know.
Yeah, we were able to record other videos while that was working. Right.
So yeah, that's pretty much the digital sorter or digital miner. Sorry. That's the digital miner, and that's how you configure it. And yeah.